First things first. Uh, One of the things that was recently, hang on, I'm just trying to sign things up. One of the things that was recently talked about or was supposedly leaked about was several games and remakes that is going to be shown at this year's Bethesda press conference. Some of which was Prey 2. We're going to see Dishonored 2, which actually the trailer leaked out today. Um, Other things that was mentioned that was going to be leaked, that's going to be shown at the Bethesda press conference was we're going to see Wolfenstein 2, the sequel to the last one that happened recently. We're going to see a remaster HD edition of Skyrim as well. And I believe there were some other things that I'll look it up. But those are some of the things that were leaked. If that, I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes something that's actually true. But we'll have to wait and see until the press conference happens. First off, I think the first thing that I think comes to mind is I think that they will definitely touch up, or they'll definitely touch upon Doom that was just released. Doom came out not too long ago. It reviewed very well, and it recently announced that they're gonna take control of their shooting multiplayer. They had another company work on it, so they're gonna take control of it. And we might see some DLC or potential stuff for Doom, or even just a mention during the press conference. That's what I think may happen, but who knows? I'm just
Yeah. Like as I didn't know about like the leaks that you had talked about, but from those games that you had talked about, Prey, I love the first Prey.
Oh my
That
god,
was on 360, and it was a long time ago. It was actually during I think the first couple of years of the 360, and that game was awesome. I actually love that game. Um, so
Prey
I'm
was one
excited
of the
for
launch
that.
titles.
Yeah, maybe. I don't really remember. It's like fucking 12 years like ago.
Well,
But
I'm gonna have you pause right there. Just remember, if Prey actually is announced, it's most likely a complete relaunch instead of a
yeah,
sequel.
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
For those who don't know,
Probably, but man, that game was so much fun.
so for those who don't know, Prey 2 has been in just a production limbo for the longest time. It started up with one company, I think it was like Raven, this was working on it at one point. Then it was shipped to another company, and it kept being remade and chopped around. Um, you know, at this point, because it went from like a cool sci-fi like bounty hunter type of game, and then it turned into like you're a soldier on an airplane and the plane crashed and you're getting out of it and you're surviving. Like
Yeah, so it was your basic Space Marine formula game.
hmm and
Yeah,
this
I
or
I think the last studio they had on it was Human Head Studios,
yes.
and they had gone a fair amount through it, from what I understand, before Bethesda decided to completely cancel the project because Human Head Studios was not meeting with their quality standards. Which, if you've ever played a Bethesda game, you know is a pretty high fucking standard.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
glitch and all.
Yeah, even the glitches are high quality.
Definitely.
um,
Bethesda, we know glitches.
yeah, definitely. I'm very curious to see what Prey 2 looks like if it's being shown. I am very curious to see what is it at this point. Like what they're saying that they're maintaining the original character from the original Prey. So I'm very curious to see what direction they're going with this game. Is it going to be anything similar to the first one, or is it going to be something similar of the last one, where you're like just a average Marine and you're going around saving the world? But I don't know. I'm very curious to see what they say and what they show at this press conference for Prey 2. If the rumors happen to be true, the leaks, um,
Hmm.
we'll definitely see that. One of the big things I think that would be interesting to see and kind of okay, my question to you guys, or if anybody knows this answer, when did Skyrim come out? 'Cause I felt like Skyrim didn't. It came out like I want to say a couple years ago.
No,
It's
not.
been more than a couple of years. It
Yeah,
was
we're
released
looking at about
5 years.
5
It's 5 years.
years.
It was
Yeah.
released November of 2011.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you
Yeah.
right now, though, do not expect another Elder Scroll game.
Oh no.
Oh, but I want it. I fucking
Oh, no,
want
no,
it
no.
so
We
bad.
all want it, but don't expect them to announce it here. It's been 5 years, but with the amount of content, the amount of detail they put into an Elder Scroll game, 5 years is not enough.
Yeah.
If anything, they might give you
Yeah.
like a teaser, like we're working on it, and then nothing else.
Okay, you know,
Even that-
I would be totally fine with a teaser. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
mean, yeah,
I
a
want
teaser
it
would
so
be,
bad. Give it to me. Just put it on my face, please. Oh my god.
but you're more likely to see something like the Elder Scrolls Online. Maybe they're going to mention that, or even the rework that they're doing for Skyrim. Those are the two, those are more likely than an all new Elder Scroll game.
Agreed. Because
Yeah,
I can't imagine new Elder Scrolls after how much money they put into for Skyrim Online or their kind of online MMO, which I think still is happening to this day. I'm not quite sure how active that game is.
It's still active. I don't know exactly how active it is, just because I tried the game, did not find that I enjoyed it, so I just bailed on it. But it still exists. There's still a player base. It's going.
Yeah, I mean, I had actually got into Elder Scrolls Online. Earlier in the year, they recently, well, not recently, maybe like the past like 4 months or so, they released a new expansion pack, which actually introduced Cyrodiil from Elder Scrolls Oblivion. So, I mean, I could maybe see them being like, hey, like, this is going to be the new expansion, you know, yeah.
Right, definitely.
And there's one little extra tidbit, too, that you can kind of consider for maybe there's going to be something about an Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls Oblivion was 2006. Elder Scrolls Skyrim was 2011. That's a 5-year gap.
I see.
So there is a possibility. I don't feel with everything else they've been doing that it's very likely.
When did when did the MMO came out? The
2014.
2014. Okay.
Yeah.
About
2 years ago.
Part of me says possibly they may have something Elder Scrolls related, but I don't think it's gonna be a new Elder Scrolls game.
Most likely, it's going to be Elder Scrolls Legends, which is some kind of card game that they're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh god.
The not Hearthstone game.
Yeah. So Elder Scrolls Legends, the beta started the 29th of April, I think. So that's more likely than a full-blown Elder Scrolls game.
Well, so then I could imagine the trailer being, "Hey guys, you guys like Elder Scrolls? Yeah. Do you guys really want another one? Yeah. Well, fuck you. It's a card game. Okay, I guess."
One thing I'd like to point out real quick is, I don't play Bethesda games almost ever, just because they're like a huge time investment, and you play by yourself, and I'm like, eh. That being said, I'd like to point out that last year they announced Fallout 4, and then that came out that year. So
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah,
I think we're getting something like that again. I don't know what, but
I mean, like, I just say, okay, so from the time between Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, it was like a pretty big gap.
No, the gap between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, let's go a little bit more. Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4.
Oh, well, okay, no, but that was handled by a different company.
True, but they could pull off something like that again. There is an outside possibility that they could use an outside company to do it. So
I hope not. Like, I don't know.
Well, they've done it in the past, so there's precedent.
Yeah, there is.
So it's a possibility. I don't know, with how big Fallout 4, how big a deal it was for Bethesda to do it rather than somebody else to do it, and how long it took them, I don't know if they're willing to do it, especially because they just put out more DLC for Fallout. So if anything Fallout related, it's just going to be like a, hey, here's the DLC we have planned.
Yeah. I would totally agree with that. I feel like they're going to, and they probably should push the DLC.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I agree with Alex. That I think that if anything Fallout 4 related, would be more DLC. They supported Fallout 3 for the longest time with a bunch of great DLC, and I don't expect anything less than Bethesda to put out more DLC.
Yeah.
Maybe a trailer.
For like Fallout 4, I think they've already released like 2 expansions.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I know of one for sure. I don't know if it's 2. I haven't been paying close enough attention, to be honest.
Yeah, actually, same here. Their DLC offerings have been kind of meh, like not on the level of like the things that they had with like Fallout 3, where it was like the Mothership Zeta I think is what it was called.
Yeah, that was in Fallout 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Operation Anchorage, which is also like a really big thing for them, you know. But as far as like the DLC for Fallout 4, it hasn't been on that level as those two that I had mentioned.
Yeah. No, I've got one for you that we're all probably looking forward to.
All right, shoot.
Dishonored 2.
Yes. So
Yes.
I'd agree with you had I liked the first game.
Fair enough.
So what I will say though, that a trailer was leaked today. Sorry, I was drinking some.
I feel like we need to throw air quotes around that.
I should clarify why I didn't like the game. I don't like stealth games. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
I did watch somebody else play the whole playthrough, and I was like, the story was really good. This game deserves a sequel, so I'm glad it's getting a sequel.
Yeah, see, and that's why people tolerate you, Greg.
I don't. For those who don't know me, and I know Anthony, I think Anthony knows this about me, but you guys might not. I used to do QA testing for video games. I was on Uncharted 3, and I also did an unreleased title for Tryon Worlds that got canned, unfortunately. So I always try to keep up with like kind of the news for like what's going on with testing and things like that, just because it's something I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. And I've heard some interesting things about Dishonored 2. Because you know how you have the different abilities and things like that that allow you to do different things, different kills? Well, apparently they're trying to push those more in a, well, you don't have to use any specific ones. You can use whatever you like to use. And some of the testers they have on there have come up with some really interesting stories where they'll do something where, like, there's this one that you can make a copy of yourself or a clone, and it can distract people and they can go and attack it. Well, someone accidentally figured out that you could, like, attach a mine to it, so when everybody comes and attacks it, it just kills them all.
That's fucking awesome.
And someone figured out a way to link. They used the clone, and then there's an ability where you can link everybody together, so if you kill somebody, everybody dies. So they'll link everybody to the clone, and then assassinate the clone, and everybody just drops.
One of the cool things about Dishonored, it was like it's very open-ended in how you can approach a certain problem or how you approach a solution you're trying to get to. Either you just go guns a-blazing or go stealth or find alternative ways using your powers. So to get back, there was a leak today of the Dishonored 2 trailer, and in that trailer it showed a lot of gameplay, but at the very end was showed a date. It was going to be released this year. 11/11/16, I think was what it said. But yeah, it's coming out this November this year. And if this trailer is shown at the Bethesda press conference, it all been confirmed that Dishonored 2 will probably come out this year. And we'll have that as our game to look forward to.
I absolutely hate that date. 11/11 is a terrible date. It reminds me of too much of Uncharted 3, which was 11/1/11.
You know how the marketing goes, though. Like, you know, whenever they have an opportunity to make some sort of like a date that has like the same numbers or some particular date on it, like they'll go for it.
I'm sure if they could pull it off, they'd do 16/16/16.
God.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious if it did. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, so they showed a cinematic trailer for the game last year, so I would hope and I would expect that we actually see gameplay.
I wouldn't doubt.
You know, yeah, I would really hope that that's like what they're going to do. You know, I'm kind of like maybe kind of salty from like the EA thing, but I just hope we get gameplay. That's all I want.
Like, I think that the contrast between the two press conferences is going to be greatly different.
I hope so.
One of the things to point out is like last year Bethesda showed a good amount of trailers that were non-gameplay, but they showed a good amount of gameplay in their trailers as well. So I'm not going to doubt Bethesda is going to do the same thing again this year as last year. And I think they'll probably do a far better job than EA did earlier today. So I wouldn't doubt that. One of the games I wanted to talk about real quickly that, if this proves to be true, Wolfenstein 2. Wolfenstein 1, the most recent one that Bethesda did, was really good. And also the DLC with it came with it.
Yeah, they did a really good job with Wolfenstein.
And they incorporated something that it was I didn't quite like thought they could possibly do, but they created a really good story into that game. And
Yeah.
the choices you can make and just how you can approach, the situation kind of ending is dishonored. I would like to see what Wolfenstein 2 looks like. Maybe it's a continuation of the story, or maybe it's like, a whole different type of story. Who knows? I'm excited. I have faith in them if it turns out to be true.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like they have a lot of room to kind of work with, because like the whole thing about the last Wolfenstein game was, it was like, okay, you're fighting in the war, and then towards the end is where like all the fucking like hell spawns come out, and where all this all the shit fucking happens. So I feel like they can like kind of like add on to that and just have it be like, okay, hey, look, shit has already gone to shit, hell spawns already released, let's do this.
Yes.
I have a great opportunity to do that with this game.
Yeah. The other thing that people kind of brought up the question, because recently when Doom came out, it did so well, and id and Bethesda just like did a great job on the game, single player per se. Multiplayer, it's alright.
Yeah,
I've heard very mixed reviews about the multiplayer. But let's be honest, Bethesda's strong suit has not been multiplayer. They're not a multiplayer company. They're a story-driven company. They tell great stories.
True. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. But I mean, in like the same vein, it's like, okay, you're talking about id Software. Like id Software are the people who created the arena shooter genre, which is now getting
popular. They are
now.
not the same people anymore.
I know, but I'm just talking about the name, because you don't have John Carmack anymore. You don't have a lot of people who were there in the beginning, of course. But I just feel like, when it comes to multiplayer for Doom, they were kind of thinking like, hey, there's gonna be arena shooter, like let's fucking do this shit. I feel like maybe they have a opportunity to be like, hey guys, we're gonna be really, really looking at the way Doom multiplayer works, which is the biggest thing against them. So I'm kind of hoping and expecting that they'll bring up Doom's multiplayer at some point.
I think they will address it. I think that because they recently did announce that id is going to take over the multiplayer aspect, and fix things that are wrong with multiplayer.
Yeah.
I think they will address it in the press conference. I think they'll speak somewhat about it, because it did sell really well, and it was reviewed really well as well. Possibly some DLC be announced, again, kind of what I said earlier in the podcast. I wouldn't doubt they'll say something, just to kind of boost their ego in a way.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question for you guys. Moving to a game we're not even sure what is actually going on with it anymore. Battle Cry. You guys remember that?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it was the free-to-play multiplayer game that Bethesda was developing. They showcased it in 2015, and since then they've gone back and forth with whether or not it's actually going to be a thing. They've publicly questioned whether or not the game has appeal. So we don't even know. So they're not even sure if the game will actually succeed.
Yeah. So like, what was the name of that game? Because I completely it's just out of my head.
Battle Cry.
Battle Cry. Okay.
Yeah. There's a beta sign up on the website, but there hasn't really been a whole lot of news about it. And I kind of feel, and some of the reports that I've been reading as well.
Yes.
Some of the reports I've been reading are saying if it doesn't show up today, at the E3 conference that they're hosting, it's dead. It's just gone. And I kind of have to agree with that, because if they've been publicly questioning the game and they're not willing to show it at E3, obviously they don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, this was one of my top picks from last year, actually. But I hadn't heard about it. Just completely just fell out of my fucking mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even if you go to their website, there hasn't been news on it since June 17th of 2015.
Yeah, I mean, like the way I kind of feel about this game, I feel like it could. I hope that they carry on with it, because it feels like a something that is kind of not similar to Overwatch, but it kind of has the same vein of different characters and different classes and different types of gameplay that you don't really normally see all the time, Yes. So I would hope so.
Yeah.
I fucking really hope so, but I feel like maybe the problem with the game is because it was very largely focused, as far as like I had remember seeing, on melee combat, like close melee combat, and like that's maybe a problem I feel like they had kind of like ran into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if they tried, they might. I don't think they'll. Yeah, I think Alex is right. If it's not shown at this year's E3, I think it might be pretty much dead.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
vaporware for that matter.
Mhm.
I think that,
Though there is the possibility that if they don't show it, it's because they decided to basically deconstruct the entire game and rework the entire idea behind it. That is a possibility, but most times, and I say this from experience because that's how I lost a QA position, if they decide to take it that far back, like pre-alpha status, the game is dead. It will not come out.
yeah. And I think trying to appeal people to that kind of concept of like, because wasn't Battlecry like it was a wasn't it kind of like a MOBA in a way, or was it a MOBA?
It was like from what I had remember seeing of it, it was basically like a well, okay, like I could compare it to Overwatch, but at the time that this came out, I would say that it's a mixture of Team Fortress and what the fuck is the multiplayer game? Modern Combat or something like that. It's like an indie title on like the PC.
Right. I think that
Anybody and can anybody give me the name of that game?
No.
The memory is searching, right? But I think I know.
Civil Combat or something like that. But I mean I don't know. Okay, so go ahead and continue on with your point, and I'll try to find the name of the game.
Okay, so the thing I was gonna say is that I think it'd be a very hard time right now to appease people to this certain type of game, only because right now there was something like that happened recently. Another battle game, Battleborn. Battleborn came out and it was dead on arrival. I mean,
Well,
you could.
It wasn't quite dead on arrival.
Yeah, not quite.
It had a couple weeks of life.
Oh, okay, yeah, couple weeks. But, like, the only problem with that is because I'm not sure if it was Blizzard if they intended to really line up to where against Overwatch. But every time there was something Battleborn related, either be an open beta or when the game released, Overwatch on the same day, or literally on the same day, would have an open beta, or like would have something to show off, just to make sure like, hey, we're Blizzard, this is our game, don't get our game mixed up with this other game from this other company.
I've been playing Blizzard games for a long time, and I'm going to tell you right now, the chances of that happening are almost zero. Blizzard's attitude for years and years and years and years has been, we're Blizzard, fuck you.
Yeah.
They do what they want
Pretty much,
on their
yeah,
time schedule, release whatever they feel is good, and they do it when they want, how they want, and everyone else can go suck a dick.
And not only
So-
that, but the reviews and the reaction from a lot of people of Battleborn was very lukewarm. Many people were, they liked the game for what it was, but the reaction and kind of feel what I got from that game was that people generally just, it was like meh, it wasn't really good, it wasn't really bad either, but they just didn't really, had anything they felt a connection to, or just like want to keep playing. And because it was, I won't say dominant, but because like it was side by side with Overwatch completely just owned that space. So whatever Battleborn was trying to do, Overwatch just took over. For better.
Yeah. So I don't mean to interrupt, but the name of the game that I was saying that it was a mixture of Team Fortress was Chivalry Medieval Warfare.
Yeah, I played Chivalry. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so I feel like that's kind of like what that they were going for. I don't know,
Right.
Yeah.
Chivalry was mostly a. I'm not sure if you can consider it indie, but it was popular, but it wasn't big.
Yeah.
So to kind of go along with what you were saying, Anthony, is with Overwatch versus that, there really wasn't a whole lot of competing as far as I can tell. Like I said, Blizzard releases what they want when they want, however they want to do it. That's how Blizzard has been for years and years. You can look at how they release World of Warcraft expansions. It's almost like clockwork when they actually put it out, and it's usually like right around like, oh, you wanted to go to PAX Prime? Well, guess what? We've released something. So it's kind of funny in a kind of sad way. And honestly, I feel like if it hadn't been Blizzard with Overwatch, just looking at the two side by side, Overwatch still would have overshadowed it. Because Overwatch, if you look at it, it feels like a much more complete game than Battleborn. It's just
Definitely.
not there. As far as like the polish, what the content offers, how the controls are, the abilities, things like that. Overwatch is just a better game all around. So the fact that it was done by Blizzard as well, just kind of it was the final nail in the coffin.
Agreed.
Yeah. So yeah, you could maybe see that as a reason. They're like, okay, yeah, we can't. Like we're not ready for this. So
There's a reason why
they may have
Battleborn went
scrapped it.
half off the day the day before Overwatch released.
Yeah, that is very telling if you're somebody out there wondering like, why is this half off the day before Overwatch? But yeah, like to pretty much, I'm pointing out that Bethesda, if they put out some Battle Cry, that's cool, that's fine. They want to support the game, but like at this stage right now, in terms of like how Battleborn ended up and how Overwatch kind of took over that space, I think it'd be wise for them to kind of like step back. It's like, okay, maybe we should step back, maybe we rethink how Battlecry is, or maybe we should like just do something else with it, or who knows. I think it might be not a good idea to kind of talk about it or release it. Maybe show a trailer, maybe, or I don't know, something. But
yeah, like I said, I think honestly, if they decided to rework some of the aspects of it, as long as they weren't major like fundamental aspects, they could still pull it off. They could still get a release date. But if they go back as far back as I think they would go, the game is dead in the water.
Definitely, and we'll definitely see if
Yeah.
it becomes if they show up during the press conference or not tonight. So the other thing I think that I want to point out is that now Bethesda, they have a certain amount of games they're going to show. One of the odd ones, this is something we kind of touched on earlier, was I want to say it was some of the Q that they were talking about. It was a card-based game. It was in, I want to say in Skyrim or in one of their games, Quartz or something like that. Basically, they're I love the fact that when they tried to show off a card trading based game last year, like it was almost as if they were trying to like trying to engage, like, hey, do you want to play Magic the Gathering, more realistic versus Hearthstone? Yeah, play our game. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna be really into it, but like, are people really gonna get into their trading card game versus Hearthstone is the real question. It never hurts to try. You definitely get a crowd, but like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. Like, I can maybe see like the card game thing kind of working, where it's like, okay. So remember last year they announced Fallout 4, but then they said, hey, we have like this app that's out now.
Oh right.
So
yeah.
I could see them kind of maybe trying to do the whole like mobile market push and be like, hey, we announced this card game for the Elder Scrolls series. Well, hey, you can get it on mobile. You can get it right now.
Yeah.
I could see that. Honestly, I think Bethesda, if they're smart, which I think we can all agree that they're pretty smart with the success they've had with as few IPs as they have, they won't push the mobile market very hard because, like I said, they're known for their narrative. They're known for their story, for the gorgeous graphics. You can't do that on a mobile device or even a tablet.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
See, okay, like I definitely agree with that, but they had the whole gimmick, like I said, with Fallout 4 last year.
Yeah.
So and this whole card game thing, like I don't see them. They don't have a kind of system like Blizzard does, where you can they have their own launcher for their own games. You know what I mean? I don't see people going out and like spending money on buying a Elder Scrolls card game unless it's something where like, hey, I can like bullshit at the fucking airport, or I can bullshit when I'm waiting for the bus with a Elder Scrolls card game because I like I could see them doing that.
Right.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like, just put something out that's like very low, like Fallout Shelter, the mobile
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
the mobile
exactly,
companion app.
exactly that. Yeah,
It
exactly. See.
it is something that's fun to kind of play with. It gives them access to a little bit of that kind of free to play feel. Gives you
Mm-hmm.
something to do if you really like Bethesda. But like I said, I don't think anything outside of like maybe a small like little like, oh, here's this app, good job, have fun with it if you want. I don't think we're going to see any real major push.
Oh yeah, no, no. I would definitely agree with that. But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to this Elder Scroll card game and
It's
something that
it's
they
more
can put
likely to come out on like a mobile app. Yeah, I can agree with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Mobiles and tab. I can see them saying, "Hey, cool, it'll be like released, like soon or like whenever
And,
else, but you guys can get the card game experience in Elder Scrolls."
and it's a
You know.
good stopgap for, hey, by the way, we are still working on the next Elder Scrolls, but here's something in the
Mhm.
meantime.
Yep. One thing,
Exactly.
speaking of which, like something that I just remembered that was it's worth bringing up because it potentially may be happening at the press conference tonight. So we talked about that Skyrim I want to say this past year or last year that they were gonna have paid mods on Steam and that certain mods were
Oh
gonna be
god,
free.
that clusterfuck.
Yeah, certain mods were gonna be free and certain mods were gonna be unpaid. Steam then took it down because of the reaction from all that. And
Yeah.
heard nothing since because of it.
Well, see, the whole thing about it is like they were very smart about that. They had pulled back on that,
and the
which is
reason,
great for them.
and the reason for it because Bethesda said and they announced last year that they are bringing mods to their consoles for their I believe it's for Fallout 4.
Hmm.
So my my gut feeling is that they're going to bring in mods in for Skyrim onto the consoles was the next big announcement.
I could
You
see
know,
that, but I'm not sure without it being like the remastered or like the re-release that they've been talking about or people have been talking about.
Yeah,
I don't think that they'll do it with what they currently have.
agreed. I think it's going to be
well,
packaged.
see, I kind of feel like okay. You had mentioned in the leaks they're gonna do a remaster of Skyrim.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you're thinking about the whole mod thing, okay, like that would make sense now, but I feel like, I mean it's cool, but it's kind of like too little, too late, I would feel, like a game that's 5 years old and you have all these mods that are super duper big and expansive where you had somebody who actually got hired by the company because he made a mod. His kid's like 12 years old. A mod that added like an extra like 10 hours worth of story that he made up on his own.
Right.
Right. But if you look at the way that they're handling mods for the consoles right now, you have a download limit, right?
Oh, what's the limit for?
So, shit, I didn't look up the exact number, but there is a download limit. You do not have a like unlimited amount of space to use on a mod. So all these mods that are very popular are very big in download size now in the Skyrim, like in this modding arena that is going on like right now.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I would hope that they don't do that because if they do that, like I said, it's kind of like too little, too late. But really, it would be a kind of ploy to just tie people over until the next Elder Scrolls.
There's one other thing too that you might not know about. Those who haven't been involved in a actual like full-blown AAA game company, most people don't realize this. Every single time you get a game update for a game like on your console, that update has been paid for by the company. They have to pay anytime they're going to put out any kind of patching. So when you consider that and considering how temperamental some of these patches are, or some of these mods are, where they have to be patched over and over and over and over and over again, what are the chances that, Xbox Live or PlayStation, Sony PlayStation are actually going to allow the mod makers to put out the updated mods and not charge them?
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some sort of system they have in place or something in order to like to kind of explain how it worked, if it indeed that becomes true, I think that is a very good point, Ramen, you brought up, because there are size limits for each console. I remember way back in the heydays of the 360 where you can own like you can make a game but under like a certain amount of megabytes onto the system, and eventually it grew bigger and bigger over time. But that is a good point, but like in terms of like what are the size of these mods to be able to carry over. But the other thing too to bring up is that these mods have to be curated. A lot of the mods has to be like original or story-based ones that work pretty well, or funny ones as well. But like they can't be like Macho Man Randy Savage mods that I wish it could be on the console, but I don't think it's gonna be on there because
Oh yeah.
it has to be curated, and because of copyright infringement. So like stuff like that won't make it to the console, I don't think, obviously. But it definitely, I'm interested to see how that's gonna work. The program, how is the mod going to transfer over to the console from the PC, or how to make a specific mod for the console.
Yeah, well, I mean, because like the whole thing about it is right now is like that's kind of like what's going on with the whole PC to like Xbox mod. I don't really know like how it's really going because I don't have Fallout 4 for the PC. The only thing that I do know, sex mods are super popular on the Xbox, and they actually exist. So I feel like in a realm where sex mods can exist for the Xbox One, then I can get me some fucking Macho Man Randy Savage action. Come on now, you know what I mean? Come on now. Okay, look.
I seriously doubt.
I don't know. Look, hey, if no, dude, look it up right now. The top mods on the Xbox One are sex mods.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I wanted to, I could go to my Xbox One, I could pull up porn on it. All right? They do not limit you as long as there's no like parental controls on it, because that's what will stop any kind of sex mod.
Yeah.
Parental controls. If the parental controls aren't enabled, you can get anything.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like just like I said earlier, the only limit that you have on the whole like mod store, well, it's not really a store because you don't buy shit, but all the mods that are featured for the Xbox, the only limit that you have is the amount of space that the mod takes up. As of right now, that could change, probably will definitely change, but the point stands.
Right.
So here's my question though. Did any of you guys play The Evil Within?
Oh yes, that's a good point. I forgot about that game.
So The Evil Within was a Bethesda game. It was released, 2014. It's only been 2 years, but are we going to maybe see a trailer or a teaser for a new one?
Yes.
I can actually chime in. I've been relatively silent this entire thing because I know shit about Bethesda half the time. Evil Within did terribly.
Did it really? I thought it did okay.
If it did okay in sales, it did terribly in reviews.
I had enjoyed it. I actually streamed it and fucking loved it.
That's great. I'm not saying
you
that
are
there
not the
wasn't-
general public.
I know
Right.
I'm not. I wish I was.
I personally feel, and from what I've heard through the horror game community, is the guy who wrote that. He was also the guy who wrote Resident Evil 4. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
It's Shinji Mikami? I'm probably butchering that terribly, but
I believe that's exactly what it is.
He left the production, or not production, but yeah, the production company that was making the first game. After the game came out, negative reviews, low like first week sales or whatever. He just was, I'm out, I'm gone, and took off. So if they do make a sequel, which I highly doubt they will, it won't be by him.
I mean, I don't know. Like, okay. I'm kind of reaching right now, but like Metacritic score, 75. Okay, I mean, like, I don't know.
Greg,
like,
I feel like we should put money down on this.
How much?
not doing it again. I'm not doing it again.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so wait, hold on. So you don't know this, but every single time we do a E3 thing
That's right.
and I make bets, I have won every single one of my bets.
But every
Okay?
single time you mean
Be
twice.
careful.
Shut your
Huh?
goddamn mouth.
Twice is good. Twice is good. Okay.
If it's
How
two
about
out of
all
two,
the other times I don't bet you and I win every single argument?
Okay,
There's
that's
so many times you haven't
hold on.
bet.
betting,
Hold on,
Greg,
wait, hold on.
specifically
Yeah,
about
no, here's the
betting.
thing. Look. Making predictions and winning arguments are two different things, Greg.
Shut your goddamn mouth.
And I'm a smart bettor. I will not, I won't get into bets with you on certain things. But the bets that I have made, I've won, because I'm a smart bettor.
You're a smart bettor, huh?
Yes. I might not be the smartest person here,
I don't know that
but
that's a
I'm a
skill.
smart bettor. Okay.
So what you're saying is you're really smart with luck.
Yes. Yes. I'm a lucky motherfucker. Which reminds me, I think I have Greg needs to eat a chili pepper for me, and then Anthony also needs to do something for me.
No,
I think it was also pepper.
What are you talking about? I didn't lose a bet. Did I?
Yeah, you did. I'm pretty sure it was last year too. Either way, going off topic. Let's get back on topic.
Yeah. So Evil Within 2, I think I've been hearing rumors that it's gonna be shown at tonight's press conference, and I am totally down for it. Evil Within was, I had fun of it. It was good.
And the reason I believe that it's a possibility is, like I said, I keep track of the game companies fairly close, like with what they're hiring, what they're doing, things like that. Tango GameWorks, which is the ones that did the Evil Within originally, they started a hiring push. Why else? I mean, maybe it's a different IP. It's possible. But if they're ramping up hiring people, it's a good possibility that they may be looking at the Evil Within 2.
I'll put it this way: if they are making Evil Within 2, if they are, it's not going to be made by the same group, or not same group. Sorry, let me try that again. It's not going to be directed and written by the same guy, different guy entirely, different director, whatever. Because I know he left. I read a thing about him leaving.
Yeah, no, he definitely left.
And I feel like it won't be the same type of game, because when I watched on the channel that I stream on every Saturday, I watched Slappy play the whole thing. The guy who streams Sunday, and watching him play it, he's very critical about horror games, and to him, the game was written very poorly. I actually thought that the whole thing of it being inside his head was quite clever, but spoiler, whatever.
It's been 2 years. Fuck them.
Yeah, for real.
But Slappy was very critical of it, and I went and read a couple reviews from certain people, and I remember Jesse Cox came out very publicly, was like, "Fuck this game." Oh my God, Total Biscuit came out and was like, "Fuck this game," and there were so many people that I had YouTubers and stuff that play horror games all the time were just like, "This game's terrible."
Total Biscuit is not. I love Total Biscuit. Don't get me wrong, but he's not always correct, and I know that firsthand because I've done.
Oh, I'm not.
I did demos with him on the game for Tryon Worlds. We had him come into the alpha server. We were playing with him, and he thought he was kicking ass and all this stuff. And meanwhile, our boss is sitting about 5 feet away from all the QA testers, going like, "Okay, guys, don't do anything. Just kind of mill around, joke around." And I was watching a stream at the same time, so I knew he was going like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing so good, blah 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 blah." And then finally, our director let us off the chain, and we kind of just destroyed him. So he's very he takes everything exactly as he sees it without kind of taking anything in from the side.
Right, and I'm not, and the other reason I bring him up is not because I necessarily listen to his reviews, because 90% of the time I'm like, just shut the fuck up, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. However, there's a slew of people who do believe he knows what he's talking about. And I just remember the day, the week that the game had come out, there was this quote-unquote firestorm of negativity towards it. Mm-hmm. And I had seen low sales, saw the guy leave, and I was like, the writing's on the wall. There's not going to ever be a sequel. But apparently, it actually got decent reviews. Like Ramen pointed out, it's got 75 on Metacritic. That's actually pretty good. and its sales numbers rose within the first month of the game being out.
Well, see, okay, like the whole thing about the game, like I said, I had streamed this game. I would say definitely like there's a lot of like writing flaws. The ending was kind of like what the fuck, but I mean like I just feel like the whole thing about it is like it was very Japanese, and it came in at a very hard time for this type of horror game to kind of like be in there, because you had your Amnesia, you had your Five Nights at Freddy's, you had this and that.
They were very different types of horror games.
Yes, exactly. Very, very different types of horror games. Now, see, like this game for like me, and for some other people, it came, it was a very good, different change of pace from what people were used to when they say a horror game.
One of the things about the game that when I was watching it that I had noticed, because I can't play horror games, stealth and horror, if anything happens that's out of whack while I'm playing it, I panic. It's terrible, and then I lose and die, and I'm just like, fuck this.
See, really, too, I fucking hate horror games.
I was making a point.
But go ahead. I'm just putting it out there. Personally, I hate horror games, so I'm kind of with you on this.
I really enjoyed how the game played with the player psyche. Like, it asked questions without asking questions, and when there's a part in the game where the place you go to kind of save the game and level up and stuff like that, it becomes part of the nightmare. And I thought that was actually really fucking clever. I thought it was really cool. However, something that Slappy did point out that I was like, is that whole sequence breaks immersion big time. Like, let's take Resident Evil 4, for example. Every time you go and find hey, what you buying? It feels more like he's just part of the world and supernatural, whereas everything else kind of is. It didn't completely move you out of the game that you're playing, whereas this was like, he's getting electrocuted every time. I have to go to the back and pick a random like locker to open up and get an item. It felt weird, and so that opinion I can kind of agree with. But like the story that was told, like you said, it was very Japanese. It's very like it's rooted in that. The point that I'm getting at, though, with that point right there, that it's very Japanese, is that a sequel will not be Japanese. A sequel will probably be more either action horror or classic horror. I think that Bethesda, knowing Bethesda, they'll go more action horror, just because I don't think that they're very good at regular horror.
So here's a question I want to pose to you all, and I'll go round robin on this one, and I'll get all your guys' opinions on this. But keeping in mind that Silent Hill was canceled, and so many people were looking forward to a video game of that genre, of that caliber, if big if here, they can pull it together and they can actually provide something that is even comparable or kind of in the ballpark of a Silent Hill game, do you think that would be something that would be well received? We're going to go ahead and start with you, Ramen.
I would say that definitely it really would be, because I have said this about horror games. Like I said, I'm not a fan of these like jump scary horror games. What I like is immersion, atmosphere. That shit creeps me out. That is what scares me, right? I feel like the game that we were talking about kind of put me in that kind of like mindset. But a game like that, I feel like it's very important the way it is now. Horror games are still very popular, but they're also losing kind of like steam, because fucking you see like every single indie game you see now is like it's a fucking horror game. It's psychological, like, so to speak. But the thing about it is that they get wrong the atmosphere, and this whole demo for what was supposed to be the new Silent Hill, they did atmosphere well. They made you feel uncomfortable. They made you feel different and scared, and they had a sense of mystery. So I feel like, yes, like it would definitely be very welcome and a very big change of pace. That'd be a huge hit.
Okay. Greg?
No. And I'll explain why. Well, I'll kind of go into the same. Hey guys, we have a new game. It's very similar to PT, if you remember PT. More fleshed out, realistic settings, but it's a completely new director. He's never worked on a horror game before. That's not going to go very well at all. People are going to go, no, I don't trust it. I don't know who did it, so no. But if they go, hey, so the guy who made the Dead Space games, he's coming in to do this.
Yes.
You go, oh, okay. I can get behind this. Sure, it's maybe a slightly quote unquote stolen idea, but at least the guy has some chops. Then people might be more accepting. I don't think Bethesda has that right now. I could be wrong, but if they don't have a big name behind it, I don't think it'll be well received. And that's general public internet reaction kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Anthony?
Yeah.
So, I would say to that question is that, now, background info. PT was a game that was once a game that was worked from Konami with Hideo Kojima and Kyotomo, the director of Pacific Rim. This game came out. The demo came out, was really well received. But as history told us, Kojima left because of issues with Konami, and PT was dead. If Bethesda, now I'm worried to see if Evil Within 2 is his thing, and whoever's gonna be behind him, I'm kind of curious about. If Bethesda put out a horror game that is similar to PT, and catching on that style, I would be more curious about who is going to be the ones working on it, or who's going to be one behind the scenes directing the game. If it shows well, if it looks well, I'd be interested, I'd be curious. But I think that because they already have a horror game already in their lineup with Evil Within, if there is not a sequel shown at this Bethesda press conference, I think there'll be a new IP that would be in horror. Bethesda is not new to horror, and they've done it before. And I'll be more curious than anything else. But could Bethesda put it off? Never put it past them to possibly do it. But could it pull it off well on history? It doesn't look as if they can.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I think like as far as like your point goes, okay, and just as we've said earlier in the podcast, this company is great at world building. They are not good. Well, I can't say like they're like not good, but they prefer not to tell single small stories, which is what usually like a lot of like horror stories end up being. So I feel like they're going to just stick with their guns and what they're good at, what they're awesome at, and that's huge world storytelling.
There's one other piece of evidence I'd like to bring to the table on this one too. I actually went to the Tango Gameworks website, and they actually have a QA assistant / QA manager position open for a Bethesda brand game. So they're working on something with Bethesda. Whether or not it's the Evil Within 2 or not, it's something new, which I feel we will see at this conference.
Yeah. I mean, really. Go ahead.
I was going to say,
No, go ahead.
I would say that guaranteed there'll be a new IP shown at this Bethesda press conference. Guaranteed.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I certainly don't think it's going to be worth it.
So we're about like 4 minutes out. So do you guys want to just like give our predictions and wrap it up?
Yeah, we got like 4 minutes left. Let's just go around the table. What are something you're looking forward to, and what you're hoping you see announced and so on. I'm gonna go with Alex first.
Actually, you know what, Greg, go ahead. I'm gonna collect my thoughts real quick.
Yeah, go Greg.
As a guy who doesn't play Bethesda very often, I can honestly say that I feel like, like I think you guys said it earlier. We're not going to see anything new from Fallout. We're not going to see anything new from Elder Scrolls. That's just not going to happen. If we do, they're not going to be big games. We're definitely going to see some. I mean, they're already leaked, but Dishonored 2. It's going to be interesting to see everything that they're going to bring to the table, because I kind of feel like without the two big names, it's not going to be a gigantic conference. It's not going to be the. I mean, they're going to have at least one name drop, and I think that's going to be the big thing. Are they going to have the Fallout 4 holy shit moment that they had last year? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. But then again, they're Bethesda, so they could. What I want to see them do is announce like 3 new IPs, completely new games that add to their roster of already, stellar games, and just move on from there. I think that would be really, really cool. I think people would be talking about that for a while. Like, hey, Bethesda's the only company who's not making a fucking sequel. I think that would be really, really cool.
All right, Robin.
I would basically agree with what Greg said about the whole new IPs. I kind of feel like last year they kind of basically blew their load. It was like, hey Doom, hey Fallout. Okay, so then the only thing, and then also Dishonored 2. So I would say that for this press conference, it's going to be Dishonored 2 gameplay. I hope. If they don't, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. Other than that, I would really, really hope, but I'm not sure if I'm willing to bet on the announcement of a new Elder Scrolls game or a mention of it. But I would say that what they should do is they should start talking about and concentrating a lot on their newer IPs, their new stuff. I will be bold right now and completely erase what I just said about Elder Scrolls. I'm going to put a poker chip down that they're going to mention Elder Scrolls in some way or form, whether that be mobile game, whether that be the new one. They're going to mention Elder Scrolls during this press conference.
All right, Alex.
Okay, first off, they're going to mention Elder Scrolls. Of course they're going to mention Elder Scrolls. How they're going to mention it is the question, though. Whether or not it's going to be that all-new game, which it's been 5 years. They tend to release on a 5-year schedule. It's a possibility. Or is it going to be just the mobile game or a card game, something small? Or is it just going to be another expansion for Elder Scrolls Online? There's too many questions there to be able to predict exactly what it is. Of course, we're going to see some kind of mention of it, especially since it's one of their huge flag. It's their flagship, basically. Mm-hmm. Elder Scrolls and Fallout are the big ones for them. Mm-hmm. Fallout, DLC only, I'm thinking. It's unlikely that we're going to hear anything about it, especially with how long their development cycle usually is, because of how big Fallout games usually are. I highly doubt we'll see anything more other than, hey, in the next year we have 1-2 DLCs planned. It kind of makes me sad to say this, but Battlecry, I'm pretty sure, is dead. I doubt we're going to see anything about it, especially with now that Blizzard's entered into that market. Unless they've, in the last year, have reworked it to something new, it's unlikely that Battlecry is actually going to come out. I don't plan to see it today. Which is disappointing because it would have been a really interesting thing to see. Actually, I'm going to jump back to Fallout again. They might actually put out something about the Fallout Shelter. They may say that they're coming out with, more content for something like that, just very briefly, just to kind of keep that Fallout in the back of your mind without actually having to put out a full game. Mm-hmm. And I am going to say that either we're going to see one of two things. We're going to see Tango Gameworks come out, and we're either going to see The Evil Within 2, or we're going to see a completely new IP, like what Gray was hoping for, and I kind of hope for. I would love to see a brand new IP that they can take and they can run with the same way they've run with it on Elder Scrolls or Fallout. It becomes a matter of, at least in my opinion, how long are they going to be able to keep that kind of thing running? Because those two games alone are huge commitments in time in development schedule. It takes forever to put out the content at that quality for those games. Can they support a third game at that level? Who knows? Maybe if they find the right partner to develop with, it's possible. But it's hard. It's going to be hard if they do.
Right, definitely. My quick predictions, because it's about to start in a few minutes. So I'm really hoping that they expand on Doom more, maybe some DLC. I'm hoping that they'll show something about it. I'm hoping to see a new IP from Bethesda. Something new would be great. One or two would be awesome to see. You know what? I'm putting my poker chip down. I'm gonna say that there is gonna be an Evil Within 2 happening tonight on Bethesda's press conference. So I think that's gonna happen, and it's gonna be pretty cool to see. And I'm more curious to see who's behind it, to see how that goes. But in general, I agree with everybody here, and I think that we'll definitely see if our predictions are right with the press conference. So, for you guys watching at home, we are going to stop this stream. We're going to host a Twitch stream, and we're going to have you guys watch it as along with us, the stream. And once it's over, we're going to unhost and put up our reactions to the press conference. So with that, let's stop the stream. And let's start watching Bethesda. So we'll see you guys in about an hour or two.